There's a lot of unhappy YouTubers out there this week. Google has changed their policy so that only users in the YouTube Partner program can link to external websites from their videos. Partnership isn't mandatory to post on YouTube, but it is required for monetization and other advanced services. As advertising revenue on YouTube has become unreliable, some YouTubers have opted to remain unpartnered, linking to outside sites such as Patreon as an alternate source of revenue. While they won't have to monetize their videos with ads, these YouTubers will have to sign on to the program if they want to continue using links in their end cards. To qualify for partnership, a channel must have 10,000 public views before YouTube will consider it for review. Critics say that this requirement stifles new creators, cutting their channels off from revenue sources while they're in their starting phase. That said, for context, this channel has 80,000 public views, and let's face it, while I appreciate every single one of my viewers, I'm not paying my rent with AdSense or Patreon funds anytime soon. It's hard to see how the 10,000 public view threshold is hindering people in any significant way. But Google isn't the only one catching flack about YouTube policies this week. Nintendo announced this week that channels registered in their Creators program are no longer allowed to live stream video games. Presumably in response to the latest PewDiePie controversy, Nintendo made their first update to the Creators program in 2.5 years when they amended their policy to state that live streaming falls outside of the scope of the Nintendo Creators program. Registered channels that wish to live stream any content must unregister and then submit their videos individually or create a new channel that isn't registered altogether. Oddly enough, the wording of the rule kind of makes it sound like Nintendo is cool with unregistered channels streaming Nintendo content. Let's see, nope, still being dicks about it. So to recap, if you stream a Nintendo game, Nintendo will take all of your money, and if you stream a Nintendo game on a channel you've registered with their creator program, they'll... Actually, it's not clear what the penalty is, but they'll probably take all your money. And yeah, it's that slow a news week because that's about the bulk of the news, though I suppose I could mention that Twitter's increasing their character limit. It's not something that should be important, except the fact that it'll give Donald Trump twice as many characters to pick a fight with North Korea and dump on Puerto Rico. Can't wait to find out how President Asterix is going to handle this newfound power of communication possibilities. On a better note, it's not so much news as something cool that I found. Steam-Forged Games has successfully kickstarted a Resident Evil 2 board game. Hot off the heels of their Dark Souls game, the Resident Evil 2 Kickstarter met their $200,000 goal pretty much right away, although there are a few stretch goals left to unlock. So hey, if you're a Resident Evil fan with $90 to spare on a board game you'll get a year from now, check it out. And stop the presses because we have some breaking anime news. It's taken a long time, but a certain magical index is finally getting a third season. Premiering in 2008, getting a second season in 2010, and a movie in 2013, the franchise has been MIA for quite some time, but the show will go on, specifically in 2018. Hopefully a third season of a certain scientific railgun won't be too far behind. And for things releasing a bit sooner, this week in theaters we have... Blade Runner 2049. Talk about a high-risk, high-reward endeavor. This is far from the first classic sci-fi movie that Hollywood has tried to make a 30 years later sequel to, and they rarely turn out well, but hopefully this will be the exception. And if wondering about the philosophical implications behind a society of artificial humans is a little heavy, I suppose you could instead check out My Little Pony, the movie. I'm not sure about this one. It seems that this has a lot of original characters voiced by movie stars, and I just can't help but feel that this movie might exist purely to exploit the franchise for some easy money, rather than tell a story worthy of the My Little Pony title that could only be expressed on the big screen. That and the CGI looks kinda weird. Over on television, it's a big week for Fox as The Simpsons is back for its 29th season, which is impressive, but let's face it, this show is never going to die. Family Guy, on the other hand, is back for its 16th season. That's right, Family Guy is officially half as old as The Simpsons, which seems insane considering that this is a show that was cancelled after its second and third season. Also on Fox, Craig Robinson is moving up from the best recurring character on Brooklyn Nine-Nine to getting a show of his own as a paranormal investigator. I will watch this as I seem to be watching many Fox comedies these days. And hey, more on Fox. If you're a Marvel vs. Capcom player that wishes the X-Men were around, then you can enjoy The Gifted, a show entirely about wishing the X-Men were around. Meanwhile, Lucifer is back for its third season. Nothing snarky to say here since I genuinely enjoy Lucifer, and this season we'll have him going up against Superman. For something more science-based, Neil deGrasse Tyson's Star Talk returns for its fourth season on National Geographic, and over on Sci-Fi, Van Helsing is back for its second season as Van Helsing's very great-granddaughter fights vampires in the apocalypse. Finally, over on ABC, Once Upon a Time returns with an almost reboot for Season 7. New cast, probably the same story. And in video games, cripes, this is a rough week. A rough, sexy week, apparently, starting with the Tower of Lust, which seems to be a Castlevania-style game about collecting porn. And hey, why stop there when you have Space Girls, a game about literally shooting the clothes off of gigantic space anime babes. For those playing for the other team, there's Coming Out on Top, cause if we're gonna get a dating sim every week, we might as well spread the joy around. And for our weekly RPG Maker shoutout, Mary in the Black Tower does not have gratuitous nudity and doesn't look terrible. Meanwhile, Omega Strike actually looks pretty good. It's got a nice art style and smooth looking gameplay. This may legitimately be worth keeping an eye on if you're looking for another shooter after Cuphead. Alien Hallway 2 is... I'm not sure what it is actually. I think it's a shooter, but it also looks like it might be an RTS. Whatever it is, dudes with big guns are shooting aliens, so that's cool. For tower defense, Magic Technology looks alright, though I'm not sure what the gimmick is supposed to be, if it even has one at all. It looks like a pretty straightforward game, but that's fine. And finally, did you think we were done with the gratuitous nudity yet? No such luck. Cinderella Escape 2 Revenge is a Dynasty Warrior style game where scantily clad fairy tale characters beat the hell out of each other and... dance? Yeesh. Wrapping things up with this week's CGBros video, we have ESMA's Pass a Pass, a pretty spectacular looking glimpse into the life of the visually impaired. Finally, for this week's awesome video, Christmas season isn't here yet, but Marvel Entertainment got an early start by teaming up with Funko for a cosmic sleigh ride. Well, that's everything for this week, so how likely are you to follow an end-screen card to a Patreon page? Let me know by, well, I'm sure you can figure it out. Be sure to like and subscribe, pass this video around to your friends, particularly those with disposable income, and have a great week!